Welcome to Newslink on eNCA. From the DA's perspective, Asina, what were the biggest red flags around the CEO's conduct that you believe Minister de Lille ignored or mishandled?
Well, first of all, good morning and thank you for the invite. So I think let's start from the beginning. The fact is the minister put out a media statement stating she's dissolving the board basically on the technicality that they had a board meeting without a chairperson and therefore acted in an unprocedural manner. But in that media statement, she definitely does not point out anything with regard to the CEO suspension. She does not mention anything with regard to the irregularities. She doesn't mention anything with regard to, consequence management. And this for us is already a red flag, because in this case, the dissolved board was actually trying to, implement the AG's recommendation, while Patricia rather subsequently dissolved the board. It was trying to do what is correct.
Well, from what the DA is then saying and suggesting, Asina, is that the board's dissolution was really about shielding the CEO from accountability. Why do you believe that decision was politically motivated rather than administrative, especially after hearing the minister's explanation in Parliament?
Well, if you heard her explanation in Parliament, she basically went round in circles. As the leader of the pack, and as she always tries to say, the buck stops with her. Wasn't it her then responsibility to implement the consequence management? I mean, she is overseeing the department. The entity falls under the department. So as South African Tourism falls under Patricia de Lille, the Tourism Act clearly tells her, or clearly gives her the mandate to say you can appoint members of the board, you can dissolve members, as she just did now. I mean, she's basically in her term now. I think there's 3 boards, and this is the only board that I can say, if you're looking at the background of these dissolved members now, come from a potentially good tourism background that I feel was actually going to be steering the tourism industry in the right direction. And if you hear the outcry from the private sector as well, they are very, very shocked with the manner and the way the Minister of Tourism actually reacted. But if you hear her responses to all our questions, mine that I started first, and every other portfolio committee member at that portfolio committee meeting, she moved around in circles. She really, worked around responding without actually responding to the questions. She used DPSA, she used this excuse, she used that excuse, but she didn't take on the task to say, yes, I agree. If you're looking at the CEO right now, remember first she was the CFO of the SAT board. Already as a chief financial officer, there were irregularities. Already as a CFO, there were already SAT got a qualified audit. So already the minister would have had the knowledge to be able to say, why am I taking this name to cabinet to appoint as a CEO?